Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Greater Houston Partnership's 2018 State of Texas Medical Center Address. Please welcome the President and CEO of the Greater Houston Partnership, Bob Harvey.
Hello, everyone. Let me give you just a moment to take your seats, but I would ask that you do so. We'll get this program underway. Got a great crowd today. Hey, I really appreciate that. I feel compelled to tell you that that bright, shiny object in the sky today is called the sun. And so we hope to see it for a few more days. But again, I'm Bob Harvey. I'm the President and CEO of the Greater Houston Partnership, and I am so pleased to welcome all of you here today for the State of the Texas Medical Center with TMC President and CEO Bill McKeon. Now, as everyone in this room knows, the member institutions of the Texas Medical Center together represent an incredible economic driver for our entire region. They provide over 100,000 jobs in healthcare and life science research, and they're truly known around the world for the concentration of bright minds in medicine all at one place. Now, in many parts of the world, the Texas Medical Center is Houston's calling card. Now, Bill and I were on a trade mission to China this time last year, and while we were on that mission, we met with a group in Shanghai that want to emulate our TMC to address the growing challenge of quality health care in China. And when we got to Beijing a couple of days later, we really had the same conversation with people from Beijing. And I just use that as an example. When I travel the world, my calling card is the Texas Medical Center because that's what they've heard of when they think about Houston. Now, over the past couple of years, the partnership has been intensely focused on advancing Houston's innovation ecosystem, and the Texas Medical Center has been at the very heart of that effort. TMCX was an early leader in this space, and I know everyone took notice when Bill and 4 of the leading academic institutions announced the TMC3 Translational Research and Commercialization Campus. And I'm sure Bill is going to talk in depth about both TMCX and TMC3 and what lies ahead. But this innovation work at TMC doesn't just happen by itself. We need the corporate and venture capital support to take Houston to the next level. Now, many of you saw the announcement a couple of weeks ago about the first closing of the HX Venture Fund of Funds, which 9 companies that together contributed $25 million to help Houston's innovation ecosystem broadly attract VC globally. And we're very close to another close for another $25 million on the HX Venture Fund. But Bill, I'm sure, is going to talk about the TMC Venture Fund and the work that he's done to draw capital together. But I just want to make it clear there's a tremendous need in Houston for venture capital and angel funding directed at the life sciences, and I hope all of you will think about ways that we can all contribute to that effort. Now, why is this so important? In a general sense, it's because when Houston startups have to look outside of Houston for angel or VC funding, it often leads to those companies moving to that source of capital. So when someone from Boston comes to Houston to talk to a life sciences startup, or someone from San Francisco comes to Houston, it is a non-trivial probability, even a likelihood, that that company at some point will be moved to Boston or moved to San Francisco to be closer to the source of capital. And that's what we want to avoid, and we can avoid that if we provide the local venture funding here. So I'm very excited about today's event, very excited that you're all here to learn more about the work of TMC. So to continue the program, I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors who've made this event possible, and we'll do so with a short video.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Your generous support is essential to the success of the Greater Houston Partnership and our mission of making Houston greater. Please join us in thanking today's sponsors. Today's State of Texas Medical Center Gold sponsors are AECOM, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas, Gensler, the Broadus Companies. Our silver sponsors are Centerpoint Energy, Norton Rose Fulbright, Texas Medical Center, the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center, Transwestern, Today's bronze sponsors are AccuData Systems, Inc., Citgo Petroleum Corporation, HOK, Inc., Hush Blackwell, LLP, Lyft, North Houston Economic Development Center at Lone Star College, Rice Business Executive Education. Our social media underwriter is AT&T. Thanks to our innovation underwriter, PKF Texas, and our welcome entrance underwriter, Texas A&M University. Today's photography underwriter is UT Health. Also, thanks to our staging partner, JSAV, and our production partner, Vision. The Greater Houston Partnership would like to express our appreciation to the members of Houston's Consular Corps for their work to establish positive foreign relations between the Houston region and their respective countries. Their leadership is invaluable to building and maintaining the region's key international relationships. The Greater Houston Partnership would also like to acknowledge our elected officials, the men and women who represent Houston at the local, state, and federal level, for their dedication and commitment to our region. Please join us in thanking all of our sponsors, members of the Consular Corps, and our elected officials.
Yep, thank you. Now, I would like to acknowledge our elected officials who are present by name. So what I'd like to do is call the names of the elected officials that are here. I'd ask the elected officials to stand and remain standing throughout the announcement. And of course, I would like all of you to hold your applause until we're through. So please do so as a courtesy. Let me start with State Representative Ed Thompson, Mayor of City of Pearland, Tom Reed, Council Member at Large of Houston, David Robinson, and Council Member District E, Dave Martin. Dave, where are you? There you are. Thank you to our elected officials who are present. Now, if I missed anyone, we'll introduce them after lunch, so that's often the case. Now, again, please join me in recognizing the members of the Houston Consular Corps who are here. Would the members of the Consular Corps stand and let us recognize you as a group? Thank you. Thank you. You know, we're late in the year, and we've had a board of directors at the partnership who've been active over the course of 6 board meetings and 5 executive committee meetings, and I would like to take this moment to thank them for their service. Would the members of the board of the partnership please stand and let us recognize you? And one of those members I'd like to call out again, and that's Dr. Bob Morrow. Bob is the chair of the partnership's healthcare policy committee, and in that role he leads our efforts to influence policy in Austin and Washington for the sake of improving health care for all Houstonians. Bob, can you stand and let us recognize you for that work? I think I may have said this, maybe I didn't. Bob is president of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas, as most of you know. So now we're going to take a brief moment for lunch, continue eating. In about 30 minutes, we'll resume the program. Thank you again.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the chair of the Greater Houston Partnership and president, the Friedkin Group, Mark Watts.
Well, welcome. It's a very exciting day to hear from Bill McKeon about the Texas Medical Center. But as Bob forecast, we do have one more elected official to introduce, and it's an important one. Sarah Davis, our state representative, whose district includes the medical center, is here. Sarah, will you please stand? I think Sarah's going to get a lot of attention today. Well, there's no question that energy is still the leading industry in Houston, but the exciting news is that our medical economy is fast catching up. And we're very pleased at the growth of healthcare and life sciences, due in part to the creative, collaborative work of the Texas Medical Center. Bill likes to call the Texas Medical Center the world's largest medical city, and I think he's right about that. It's the 8th largest business district in the entire country, employing 100,000 people, who generate more than $25 billion in direct economic impact. It encompasses 50 million developed square feet and $3 billion in construction projects underway. So truly a staggering phenomenon for our city. It's important that the business and community leaders, those here today and others, stay informed on the innovation taking place at Texas Medical Center, and that we support the collaboration and partnerships moving the region forward, including TMC3, and we're excited to hear more about that bill today. TMC's economic power is undeniable. It's a significant driving force for our region, and under the leadership of Bill, I know there are great things ahead. So many great things going on at the medical center. We needed help introducing Bill, and I've called on my friend Jamie Roots to help introduce him. Jamie is a longtime advocate for the partnership and truly understands the critical work we do to make our region the best place to work, live, and build a business. In addition to his leadership within the partnership, Jamie's a strong advocate for the region's innovation ecosystem. He serves as chair of Houston Exponential's High-Tech Anchor Committee, which is charged with recruiting major players in the digital tech arena in our region. So please help me in welcoming my great friend, Jamie Roots.
Thank you, Mark. And just if you could give what a great leader in our community, not only with the Greater Houston Partnership, but all across Houston. Mark Watts. Thank you, Mark. I tell you, it is amazing how many times you get asked to speak when your team has won 6 games in a row, right? That's pretty darn cool. So I'm as excited as you are to hear of the state of the Texas Medical Center from Bill and the incredible work that Bill and his team are doing on behalf of our community and for our region and for our state and for our country, in fact, the world. Not often do you get a chance to introduce somebody whose respect that you have for them as a leader is matched with your appreciation of them as a friend, and Bill is a great friend. This is his second state of the Texas Medical Center, and if you know Bill, he's never standing still. He's going forward, and as exciting as last year was, I think he's got some really interesting and innovative things to share with us here today. Bill was appointed as the president and CEO of the Texas Medical Center in 2017. Prior to that, he served as the executive vice president, chief operating officer, and chief strategy officer of the Texas Medical Center starting in 2013. As the CEO, his focus is on driving strategic, operational, and programmatic initiatives across the Texas Medical Center, which includes 60 different member institutions and some of the greatest brands in healthcare, like Houston Methodist and Baylor and MD Anderson and others. He hails from Connecticut, but as they say, he got here just as quickly as he could, and we're proud to have him here. He earned his Bachelor's of Science with top honors in legal studies from Roger Williams University. He earned his master's degree from the University of San Francisco School of Management, and he has held some amazing positions with great companies all over the world. And in the past 26 years, he's been involved directly in healthcare. I'd call him a serial builder. So he started with DuPont, implementing a news publishing system that was rolled out globally. He led the cardiovascular medicine and cardiothoracic surgery business at Stanford. He led market development for all 17 lines of business at Stanford Medical Center. He led strategy and emerging technology at Medtronic. He helped U.S. Oncology grow from $250 million in revenue to $1.4 billion prior to an IPO and then a purchase by McKesson. He prepared both Microport and Cellnovo for successful IPOs as their president and CEO. So you see why I refer to him as a serial builder. And we are so thrilled to have him here in Houston, putting that same passion and focus on innovation and growth with the Texas Medical Center. He's a recognized champion for Houston, and under Bill's leadership, truly, the Texas Medical Center's role in the world has shifted dramatically. Shifted from a manager of physical infrastructure to a creator of infrastructure to foster life sciences innovation, and a collaborator that brings together the best and brightest from the Texas Medical Center to truly change the world. Under Bill's leadership, the can-do spirit of Houston lives and breathes every day. And as Mark mentioned, the Texas Medical Center is an unmistakable economic driver and is poised to become the third coast of life sciences. More personally, Bill is a great friend to me and to many here in this community. He's the 9th of 11 children in his family. He's married to his wife, Polly, for 32 years, and they've known each other since they were kids, so he instantly knows what he likes, and Polly's here with us today. If you'd please give her a round of applause. Polly. His boundless energy and zest for life is absolutely contagious. His passion and leadership abilities are both off the charts. And because of the passion that he has for whatever he invests himself in, the Texas Medical Center is absolutely thriving. And the future gets brighter every single day. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome my dear friend and a great champion for Houston, Mr. Bill McKeon.
Really kind of you. You never want to follow Jamie Roots onto any stage, but thank you, Jamie. I'm actually 9 of 13. You said 9 of 11. I have 2 text messages from my other 2 siblings that are still with us today. So there's actually 13 of us. I'm so delighted this is kind of a celebration that not only myself and my team and our board get to really actually brag on the tremendous institutions across the Texas Medical Center. We don't have time, as Bob told me, we don't have time to cover all 60. So we're giving highlights of many of them. But let me start first with the people that really make this special. In our board, I'd love to have our board members, Texas Medical Center board members, stand and be acknowledged. These are the source of all of the inspiration that I get and our team gets. Please, a round of applause for the Board of Directors of Texas Medical Center. We also have TMC advisory boards, which was largely made up of the CEOs from around the Texas Medical Center. So could I ask the TMC advisory board members also to take a stand and be recognized? Come on, don't be shy. Hey, Chuck. So this is the greatest privilege when I come to work every day, is this talented group of people that I get the privilege to work with every day. And the unique thing about the Texas Medical Center, a lot of people don't realize this, that every one of those institutions have their own leadership, they have their own board, and they can really go their own way. And the only thing that we can do is really focus on creating opportunities for them to come together. Many of them come together on their own rights. It's not just us, but this group really dedicates itself every day of the week, every day of the year, to really bring this great medical city together. And so just recognizing a few of my brother-in-arms, Sean Cluning, our Chief Operating Officer, Denise Castillo-Rhodes, please stand. Come on, don't be shy. I've got Dr. Tim Garson, Eric Halverson over there, Santos Hinojosa, great legal mind, another UT legal mind, Ashley, who leads strategy, and the incredible marketing team led by Tatum Boatwright. But most importantly, you know, it's usually the tip of the spear people, Kirby Lyles and Sonia Gaskill, please stand. These are the people that interface with the world for us, and often they don't get recognized, but they are very special to us all, and really are the point of the spear. They call it the moments of truth when we deal with people. So I'm going to take you on a real whirlwind tour quickly to try to tell you about not all of our institutions, but many of our major institutions. So let's start right off. We have Baylor College of Medicine, led by Dr. Paul Klotman. He's been there since 2010. A really exciting program, this All of Us program. It's fairly new. There were only 3 genomics centers chosen in the United States. Baylor College of Medicine is one of them. They're doing some really interesting clinical grade genomic data, and they're also joined by UT Health that I'll talk about in a minute. They were number 5 in the primary care category and 16 in research intensive. You're going to see a lot of awards here. Don't get tired of them. They're really important. We have Gay Nord leading up CHI St. Luke's. The McNair campus is about to explode in a really positive way. You already see what's happening there. Imaging services, rehabilitation, orthopedics already in there. I received my care on the 9th floor. It's beautiful if you've never been there. I had my knee done there by Baylor. And they're building out an entire McNair campus. Also great awards. 2nd hospital in Houston, 4th in Texas, and also you're going to see a lot of this, but don't look past it. You're going to care about this as one of our patients, A in hospital safety from the Leapfrog group. George Massey is president of Harris Health System. They're doing some really things around understanding social determinants of health and really quite progressive, including building gardens. They've got food pharmacies, so they're really trying to affect people at the grassroots level. And they've also got a Northeast Health Hub underway. They're doing some other things around telepsychiatry into public school system, desperately needed. House calls to people that are homebound, so they can't actually travel for primary care, and perinatal dialysis as well, again, home-based. So when you really think about it, not many people that are in a later stage of sickness or chronic care can travel, and they're really bringing their expertise out. They've expanded their Lyndon B. Johnson Hospital, as well as Ben Taub. This is a second renovation that they've done to add new operating rooms and pre-op and post-op anesthesia care. Moving forward, Dr. Peter Pisters, we wooed him back from Canada. Peter was at Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center for about 10, 15 years as a surgeon, brilliant surgeon at that. And we are really delighted to have Peter come back, and he's already making a real impact. Now, talk about major announcements. I don't know how many people get to brag on Nobel Prize winner, and the first Nobel Prize winner ever in the history of the awards around therapy of affecting humans. So here's a brief video of our Nobel Prize winner, Jim Allison.
I think I'm an exceptionally lucky guy, because when the trials of the drug I invented were going on, it became clear that it worked. And we know now that based on studies of thousands of patients that have been treated, that about 1 in 4, 1 in 5 that get a single treatment will be alive 10 years later. I mean, they're basically effectively cured. One of whom I met later, she said, I'll do anything. I just want to live 2-3 months to see my son graduate from high school. So I met her 10 years after that, when she had just gotten 1 dose. She had just come in for her 10th annual checkup. She just hugged me and thanked me, and said she didn't really expect to see her son graduate. I came to MD Anderson for a couple of reasons. The most important one, I think, was that I think there's a lot more openness here, too, and willingness of people to work, with each other. I'm not an MD, I'm a scientist, so, we have to work with the doctors to design what we're doing in the clinical trials. When you get it together and everybody's playing together, it's really special.
How about a round of applause for Dr. Jim Allison? I've talked with him several times, and he is equally as humble as you see in that video. He's just a really wonderful person. Let's talk about the expansion. Look what's happening with MD Anderson. They're expanding into League City, Tyler, San Antonio, Jacksonville, Florida, and San Diego. They're doing some really interesting things both internally and on the legislative front about really banning tobacco up to 21. They have a UT Eliminate Tobacco Use. I think it's one of the most progressive programs in the world. They're also doing partnerships in Be Well in Baytown with ExxonMobil to promoting health and wellness. And then they have the HPV vaccine initiative, where they bring experts from across the campus to really develop develop an evidence-based plan to really advance the vaccine. So great things here, and look at the awards. Ranked #1 U.S. News and World Report, best for veterans, best place to work. They're just really great. MD Anderson Cancer Center. Mark Boom, dear friend, leads up Houston Methodist, continuing to do great things there. They're Methodist Center for Innovation. I don't know if people have been to Houston Methodist, but their training program is really second to none. If you go in, they have huge theaters where physicians can learn the latest techniques, surgical techniques, and now they're bringing in a lot of digital technology to really advance those treatments. If any of you have been through, you see the beautiful new Paula and Joseph Rusty Walter Tower. It's only been up for about 4 or 5 months when it's opened. 700 million patient tower, opened in August, 1 million square feet, 22 stories. It's beautiful. And you see that little old building right next to it? That's next on the list. So that will be gone soon, and another amazing tower will go next to it. Again, ranked #1 hospital in Texas, 7th year in a row, and through Vizient, which is around quality as well, ranked #8 on teaching hospitals. Chuck Stokes, you saw Chuck over here before. You probably have all heard about the proposed merger, Baylor Scott and White, and health merger. This is the #1 and #2 size of care providers in the state coming together. And it's a really exciting merger of these two. It's early days, but that's pretty exciting. Their Children's Memorial Hermann, they earned from the Society of Thoracic Surgeons. They are the top award. They get a 3-star rating in congenital heart surgery and best superior outcomes following pediatric surgery. It's pretty amazing. A lot of awards. I can't list them all, but as you see, another tremendous program in the medical center. Dear friend David Lebron, I think it's one of the exciting things that are happening. In the upper left, you see this innovation hub. So when we think about this innovation, it really starts at the bottom of the picture from the Texas Medical Center all the way to downtown. And we're really building out that corridor and Rice, where on that, there's a new picture of what the Rice building will look like. I'm sorry, the Sears building, the innovation hub. And David's done it in a really amazing way. He's really brought together many components. So it's not a Rice only play. This is a community play, how we make this an innovation hub. We'll be taking you'll hear about our innovation center at the medical center, but we're actually moving a lot of our digital companies after they get through our accelerator at TMCX, they'll be located in here. So again, it's not about drawing walls and what's good for me, it's really about what we do that's great for Texas and Houston. They also, you probably read about it in the paper, are offering full tuition grants for people of lower and middle income, a very progressive program. I don't think it frankly got enough press. I think it was pretty exciting. And they're doing a lot with neuroengineering and synthetic biology initiatives. I'll be wearing that next year when they get it fired up. Capital investments, $50 million that they've put into research investments, 21 into a clean room. So there's a real tight connection between Rice and many of the members of the medical center. Our newest addition to the team, Carrie Byington at A&M, is doing some really amazing things. The NMed program, which I think is fascinating. If you think about putting together the mind of an engineer and an MD in one in your training, really exciting what can happen. They were really amazing to recruit Dr. Roderick Pettigrew. Now, he's a two-timer. He's got National Academy of Medicine, which this is a dream to get invited into this, but he's also the National Academy of Engineering. He's heading up, what better person both on medicine and engineering to head up this group. Really exciting. The inaugural class will be 25 students, and it's the nation's first 4-year engineering medical education curriculum. So again, and they're doing that together with their friends at Houston Methodist. They just purchased, remember this building? They purchased this at the end on 1020 Holcomb. It's a 5.52 acre that A&M has purchased. It's an 18-story building. This will serve as the education and training area for NMed, and I'll talk a little bit about their joining us in the TMC3 later on in the presentation. A lot of people don't know about TIPS. When you think about the animal work that's done in all clinical research, when you get through your initial phases of safety, you move on to animal trials typically, start with mice, but then move on to animals. It's a fundamental in research, and they have some of the most amazing technology. Actually, a lot of their veterinary students for years have been coming to the Texas Medical Center supporting our lab, so it's really exciting to have this program coming closer into the fabric. Mark Wallace, I love that young picture of him. Again, the regenerative medicine program is alive and well at Texas. And so Mark's doing some really amazing things. First, Legacy Tower that you've seen, $575 million, 19 floors, 12 operating rooms, pediatrics as well as cardiology beds. Now listen to this. A lot of times people think about the Texas Medical Center. And I was reminded by our governor, it's not the Houston Medical Center, it's the Texas Medical Center. And our span, as you see us in Galveston and the Woodlands and now Austin, look at the 5-year plan. 18 pediatric practices, 4 urgent care, specialty, taking that incredible brand of the largest children's hospital in the world and bringing it around Texas. I think it's really exciting. Philanthropy, they need some help. They only were able to raise $1.6 billion. In one evening, $83 million. It's the largest fundraising effort ever happened in one night. It's $83 million, and it's all for an incredible cause. When you see what they do for children, if you ever spend time, my daughter's birthday present, she only wanted to hold a baby in the prenatal unit. It was one of the greatest privileges to do that, and my friend Mark helped make that happen. And spend some time at Texas Children's, you'll be a donor soon. It's just a very special thing, as well as the other institutions. I didn't want to do a separate philanthropy bid for just one of us. So great accomplishments. Their numbers continue to rise in all the standings. Dr. Giuseppe Colasardo, again, UT Health, and there's a person there I met long ago, Dr. Eric Borwinkle, one of the well-known people. He, together partnering with Baylor, have been awarded this All of Us research program. And look who they're joined by, Harvard, WashU. They need our help. And so it's $3 billion over the next 12 years that the NIH is spending. And again, they only picked 3 parts. So UT Health together with Baylor, I think it's a really exciting thing. Harris County Psychiatric Hospital, we granted the land for this. This will be, is already underway, the planning. I met with the team just the other day. This is really exciting. 304 new beds at Harris County Psychiatric Center. Everyone in this room knows we are completely under-supported in the support of mental health in this community. And this is a great thing, and it will make it the largest in the state of Texas. They also have the only school of biomedical informatics, the only one. There's some really bright people there that's underway. They just opened this in December of 2018, and it's a really exciting program. And as you see, more of our care is moving into informatics and our understanding of the human genome. David Callender in Galveston as our president of UTMB. Again, you're going to see a lot of expansion. On the left side of that picture, 2018, and now in 2020, they're adding a 5-story tower of expansion, another additional 60 beds, but that's not all. Look what they're doing on the Clear Lake there. They've got a lease on another 191 beds, and then they're opening in 2019 an advanced simulation center for active learning. So again, really pressing the envelope of advancing the way which we think. Again, great recognition in their Magnet Award as well as the Quality Leadership Award. These are very rare awards to win. The tour de force, Dr. Renu Couture, she's just really incredible. I read recently just what's happened in the 10 years at the University of Houston, and she's just an incredible person. Look, they're up in the rankings 21 places. They've got 19 members of the National Academy of Sciences and Engineering. $1 billion campaign. Looks like she's a little short. I have a feeling she's probably over that. This might be outdated already, but an incredible campaign that she's led. Their fall 2018 enrollment, look, they went from 39 to 46. That makes them the 3rd largest school in the state of Texas. And now they're doing a really interesting thing. They're building a medical school program, and they've got a couple of steps underway. You probably saw an announcement in the Chronicle yesterday. They're considering a couple of sites for where they place this. I tease her all the time and tell them they should be at TMC 3, but I'm working on that. Francesco Vasquez, he's the director of the Veterans Affairs. This is, if anyone's not seen the Veterans Affairs building, I believe it's the second or the largest or second largest, I've heard both, in the United States. And they're continuing to grow. They're expanding into they're opening in 2018, another mental health building, a pulmonary rehab, acute pain management. And now they're doing comprehensive mental health services, high clinical priority suicide prevention. You can imagine PTSD, so many veterans that return from serving us in war coming back. And they're growing out their nursing program tremendously. Okay, so that's a quick stop for a second. Now we move into what's happening with our industry partners. J-Labs, I don't know if Tom Luby, I think he's flying back from New York today. He heads it up, J-Labs at TMC, but I've got a brief video for you.
J-Labs at TMC is Johnson & Johnson's no-strings-attached incubator located in the world's largest medical city. Currently have 54 companies in residence. We've been open for 2.5 years. We started with just a little over 20, so we've seen 100% growth in the number of companies that we have here. Of all the J-Labs locations, J-Labs at TMC has the highest percentage of medical device companies, 35% currently, a little over 50% pharma biotech, and the rest are consumer and digital health companies. The relationship with the TMCX Accelerator and the Biodesign program is incredibly important for J-Labs at TMC. We find that they recruit great companies that Johnson & Johnson cares a lot about. We love to be able to establish a more long-term relationship and hopefully be able to be partners with them for late-stage development and commercialization. J-Labs at TMC is a representation of the overall investment that Johnson & Johnson is making to the Texas Medical Center and the city of Houston beyond. We're really excited about the solutions that the startups that we see here are bringing to patients and look forward to the value that these will add to overall healthcare in the future.
It's Dr. Tom Luby. And then we believed when we made the investment with the great support of our board that if we invested, remember before this, we didn't have a player, largest medical city in the world, and we didn't have a major player from industry here. They used to refer to it as flyby. They may fly in and stop and kick a few tires and then they were gone. And so that was a really strategic investment that we made to bring J&J here because we believed if we could bring industry here, their leadership would come. And sure enough, they did. And then they made the investment. They moved the only Center for Device Innovation here. This is the first time on the planet J&J, the largest life science company in the world, made a decision. And I think in large part they did because we had a brilliant entrepreneur, part of our Texas Heart program, Dr. Billy Cohn. I think he's here. Billy, where are you? Stand up, please. Dr. Billy Cohn. Let me tell you about this cat. He is a brilliant heart surgeon. He's, I think he's had 13 to 20 companies. I lose track of it. But what was so brilliant about him is he did most of this. He'd build prototypes in his garage, and then he'd bring them in and test them. And through that, everyone knew about Billy's garage. So J&J said, well, let's just put that on steroids and build a super garage, 60,000-foot garage now. And here's a brief video of Billy telling what CDI is up to.
Hi, I'm Billy Cohn. I'm the director of Johnson & Johnson's new Center for Device Innovation at the Texas Medical Center. By career, I've been a heart surgeon my whole life, but now I'm in charge of this facility, which is the premier medical device maker space in the world, 1 mile from the largest medical center in the world, leveraging the resources of Johnson & Johnson, the largest health tech company in the world. And we're really excited about some of the transformative medical devices we're working on. So we had our ribbon cutting in November of last year. We've been building out our team, picking projects, and initiating the effort of developing new devices.
The Center for Device Innovation at Texas Medical Center is a collaboration between the medical device companies of Johnson & Johnson and the Texas Medical Center. That's really fully hitting its stride now. CDI has exceeded all of our expectations. And for us, Johnson & Johnson, it's the only place in the world that we've set that kind of model down, and we're all very pleased with the progress that they've made in their first year.
We work on our own internal projects, but we also got 2 companies that came from the TMCX Accelerator and from J Labs that are living here in CDI, and we prototype for them, we provide them advice, and they are really tearing it up, and there's several other companies we're looking at to have that same arrangement. Incredibly exciting. We've got a great team here. Other big companies are looking and taking notice. Houston is really coming on the map as a force to be reckoned with.
All right, moving forward. Baird, another thing you probably saw recently, Baird Capital, we've signed a partnership with. Again, remember you heard it before, I think Mark mentioned it as well in his comments about how do we bring more money into this ecosystem. Baird has come forward, and here's just a brief overview of Baird and their recognition of this ecosystem and their investment in it. I'm so excited about the announcement of our partnership with Baird and Baird Capital because it's the last piece that we've been looking to build out in the innovation ecosystem. We proved the big players in J&J came here, and now Baird, and it's such a validation that if you do things right and you do things with the Texas spirit of we're going to do this bigger and better than anyone in the world, world-class partners will come.
Baird is in Houston because we believe in this market. We think this market's got all the ingredients to really develop a robust venture capital ecosystem. We're so excited about the Houston opportunity, and to the point that we're actually going to put a dedicated professional on the ground into the innovation center itself. I mean, this is a very important strategic initiative for Baird, and I think it's going to be mutually beneficial for all parties.
In addition to that, they've added a venture partner, Tim Marks. I'm not sure if he's here in the room, but he's here, and he's located in the Innovation Institute, where he has his office, and there he's right on the ground with a lot of the technology companies early on, so he can see those and help them find investment. We also have a golf tournament. You might be surprised about it. It's the only philanthropy that we do. And the lower left, if you've never seen David Faraday, he's that famous sportscaster on television that just does a great job. But it's really a great time for all of us in the medical center to celebrate. So we raise money each year, and it goes into the TMC3 Foundation. You may not know, but on the magazines that are on your seats today, we're really proud. When coming on board, we had kind of a newsprint that really was a reprinting of press releases. Now we've hired some really great people, many of them out of the Houston Chronicle. Maggie Galehouse, our editor, and Ryan Hollywell, who heads up the communication, also formerly from the Chronicle. And they produce this every month, and it's really us telling the stories of our member institutions. There's so many great stories to be told, and they do a wonderful job, and they've won several awards for that. And now let's talk about the institutes. Remember, this came out of the strategic plan, these institutes, and we were lucky enough to recruit Tim Garson back from Virginia to the medical center, where he's a pediatric cardiologist and at Baylor for many years, and he's doing some really exciting things. Put together the first of its kind 13-week course on health policy that has been attended by over 800 people. I give them a hard time. I said, we're doing health policy. Are we going to fill anyone in this room? And they have stacked the room. So Tim's very proud when he looks at me and says, I'm sorry, we have standing room only. So I tease him that it's alive and well. They're doing a white paper reducing the cost of health care and showing how we really bring it down without sacrificing quality. He does a survey now that's really fascinating. It started only in Texas, and now we go to all the states. We go through 50 states and 5,000 people, and it's really fascinating what people are telling us about healthcare when you ask them. So 52% say we should be completely banning the sale of tobacco. 51% say food that leads to obesity should be taxed more. And 46 believe that respondents that the legal blood alcohol limit should go to 0.0. So really interesting to hear from across the nation, and he runs some great comparisons. So that's a big conference when he gets all the data in, and he shows how that, not only how the country feels, but how Texans feel relative to that. and they're in the process of writing an incredible book. We also do institute grants, and so you have to be with your brethren across the street, so it's multiple institutions. And these are some of the 2018 winners: addressing the needs of children of incarcerated parents, implementing telemedicine for children with complex medical conditions, developing warning systems for drug-resistant fungus, and creating a tool to objectively evaluate health in the community. So these come up every time, and Tim's really got a great panel of people from around the country that make a decision on this, and we've done $2 million in grants since 2016. Now, for TMCX, we just had demo day yesterday. Some of the faces in this room, I saw you there, but it's pretty amazing to hear about these 23. Remember, we have 2 cohorts every year, one for medical device, one for digital health, and yesterday we graduated TMC X7 cohort. That's our 7th cohort and this is just a brief view of this company and technologies.
This is X7. We've got 23 medical device companies, 9 of the 23 international, 5 great homegrown Texas companies, and the rest from all over the country.
The Texas Medical Center offers an extremely efficient platform for going from prototype to actual feasibility.
We have 70 plus hours of curriculum, 250 plus advisors. They find out exactly what the companies need while they're here, and they plug them in.
The first day we were in TMC, we were able to meet with the head of emergency from a number of different hospitals.
I got appointments at Texas Heart, MD Anderson. I've been inside Methodist. I've been inside the VA.
A typical accelerator company with seed, pre-seed funded does really well through our curriculum, but those later stage companies are getting just as much, if not more traction, because they can roll out directly into the hospital system.
We're not going to bring a company in that doesn't already have an established market fit. We go to our member institutions and we ask them what they're looking for.
People that we could have cold emailed for the next 10 years and never got close to.
NIH, for instance, NASA. I had never considered that our technology might wind up in space.
The idea to bring not only capital and entrepreneurs, but also industry and the like here to Houston, that's all part of the plan.
This whole building, 700,000 square feet, we're looking to turn into an innovation neighborhood.
At the Center for Device Innovation, we have mills, lathes, 3D printers, access to experienced machinists, which can actually operate all of these machines. They can provide perspective.
I think it helps that no one is actually directly competing with each other.
We provide each other with introductions, with whatever resources or advice that we have.
Whether it be the mentors or our peers, all of the people that we've met so far have provided us with help.
And it's more than just sort of like professional advice on, how to make your company successful. They're really a great support net when you come to Houston from somewhere else.
These companies are graduating with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 signed agreements in 4 months. Pilot agreements, co-development, sales, clinical trials. That's real traction in a very short period of time. We think Houston, if it's not already, it's very quickly on its way to becoming the epicenter for medical device innovation. The capital is coming, the startup companies are coming. This is a very robust and rapidly growing ecosystem, and it shows no signs of stopping anytime soon.
Just to give you a fact point, so of the 23 companies out of that cohort that just graduated, they've been on our campus for 4 months. Today, they have 101 signed agreements in the medical center. Think about that, 4 months. There's no place else in the world that you can do that. And that's really putting our strength, and that's because of our great member institutions like Houston Methodist and Baylor and UT and A&M. They're really leaning into this, and that really makes all the difference to these companies. So we also have a clinical research institute that's underway. We've created the first TMC Common IRB for those non-clinical people. Anytime that you do a trial in the world that's going to at some point involve humans, you have to take it through an institutional review board. And that's really made up of not just doctors, but ethicists and people from the community to really make sure that this is in the best interest of human. We have 27 of those across the Texas Medical Center. Can you imagine if you're Amgen and you're coming out to really do a trial, you'd spend about 2 years signing the paperwork to get across the entire medical center. So it's not really taking advantage of our tremendous strength. Individually, those are needed IRBs, but collectively, it's really difficult. So that's the role of the TMC IRB. We have a TMC R&D agreement that's now in the hands of our great, brilliant lawyers across these institutions. It's already been signed by a few. We hope to get the rest of those signed soon, because that will really transform, I believe, our clinical research into a huge profit center. And on the shared data platform, we're putting in a new artificial intelligence platform that's really exciting, that is finding patients sooner and faster. I try not to go too much deep into it, but a lot of your structured data, you know, where you're from, your disease, how old you are, that's easy to find. The unstructured data that's in the physician's notes are that brilliant information that either determines you're included in a trial or you're excluded. And that's the thing that today, in the best places in the world, has to go through by hand to researchers and physicians. It takes months to find a few patients. This artificial intelligence platform, we're finding them in seconds. And what's interesting is this platform actually links, so that MD Anderson could link with Baylor, then link with Methodist. So we're using this same platforms rolling out in Australia and the UK, and I'll talk about that in the BioBridge, but a really exciting opportunity. BioBridges are here, so they'll tell you a little bit about them. The TMC BioBridge is a partnership that we've established with a few countries around the world. When we discovered that many of the things that we're trying to solve, these countries are really addressing the same problem.
The only way to save patients, to give them better treatment, is to cooperate together. But this is about partnering with the largest medical research centre and hospital network in the world, because a discovery in Texas, which is available in Australia, will help Australian patients.
In terms of our mission, we're looking for the best technologies and innovations anywhere in the world. I think we're appealing to other organizations and other countries, not just because we're the biggest medical center in the country, but because of what the makeup is of that medical center. Literally any kind of doctor that they're looking for, any kind of patient population, any kind of data that they're looking for, we've got that here. We're very excited about where this is going.
Ultimately, I think that we will have a regular exchange of knowledge, of data, of expertise. Now we're cementing that partnership, and we're picking areas where we can mutually benefit and mutually drive our research programs.
So the BioBridge has a bright future because we will together look at these very complex problems that require very complex technology and share our learnings together to accelerate knowledge. Well, you know, this all started with having, you know, I was always proud of our consul generals. I believe we have the third largest number of consulates in the United States, next to New York and Washington, D.C., I believe. And these are stewards into these countries that have great access points, and so the consul generals from both Australia and the United Kingdom played a really pivotal role of really linking up our great physicians that we brought from MD Anderson and Baylor College of Medicine and others over to link with their top genomicists. So it was a really efficient meeting, and this BioBridge has really taken off now. So it's an exciting, and we'll do more countries as well, but we want to make sure these are not just press release type of relationships, but they really have marrow to them and that we're really connecting. And that's why that technology platform allows us to link together. Okay, TMC Venture Fund, due to the graciousness of our board in understanding that there was a hole in this community, that you needed to put money to work on early stage companies. Many people wait until companies become revenue producing and then they're willing to get behind them, but you really need someone to risk. So our board was generous and we created the TMC Venture Fund. You see the advisory board, that's many of them are in this room today, that come together 4 times a year, and we look at these companies with rigor to make sure they're worthy of investment. And why that's important, because every exit of this company feeds right back into the fund. So we hope it becomes more and more successful and really evergreen going forward. Juliana Garza, is she in here somewhere? Just brought her on as our director. She's outstanding. She's built these networks in Europe and also here, and is outstanding. She's the newest member of the team, so we expect great things in the future. And now I'll tell you a little bit more. What's exciting and actually different about the TMC Venture Fund is it really came from the progressive minds of the Texas Medical Center Board of Directors. Not only is our mission to advance health education and research, but we really felt it was our opportunity to really lean forward into the community, really make a statement, and in doing so, we've already started the momentum where we're getting greater companies to come into the ecosystem because there's money to be had here. Without economic fuel, companies will disappear to the East Coast and the West Coast. And as we're developing the third coast for life sciences, having money to invest in these companies is a really important first step.
We launched the TMC Innovation Institute about 4 years ago. For the companies that are selected to come into our program, we don't take any equity, we don't charge them any money. We built up curriculum, advisor-mentor network, really test them out, connect them with subject matter experts, plug them into the biggest medical center in the country. The one thing they were missing was capital. I've yet to meet a startup company that's not looking for capital, and so we wanted to be able to bring that as an additional resource and support for these startup companies.
You know, there was a lot of capital put into all these buildings, all the research. Otherwise, the TMC wouldn't have happened. But there's not a bet in the early stage investing ecosystem. And that's what we're trying to do. We're really showing that there's a lot of potential. We're also bridging a funding gap that there is in the ecosystem. We want to make sure that the companies here get funding here and don't have to move to any of the East Coast or the West Coast. This way, finally, we'll have success stories that belong to Houston and can stay here. And this will become a virtuous circle where these companies will actually help fund other companies and will breed more success. And that's what Houston needs.
The whole concept of the Innovation Institute is to create density. JLabs at TMC, TMCX, TMCX Plus, Center for Device Innovation are all part of a single building where we can have startups come, bump into each other, and create the opportunity for them to imagine that there's a reason to stay in Houston. So even if you were successful in terms of raising financings, getting to an exit, bringing a great product to patients, you think that there's a reason for you to stay in Houston and do it again. Please stay and do it again. We're really looking forward to that.
Not only do you have the ecosystem of now innovative companies that are housed within a TMC facility, but you have all the hospital systems around that are either contributing the technologies or potential partners, right, that can help pilot these things or help them get through regulatory and clinical studies. I think if this community works in tandem, and it seems like it already is tight-knit in many ways because of the Texas Medical Center, and then the natural course after that is, all right, where's the capital coming from to kind of help fund these? There aren't many institutions like Texas Medical Center that say, hey, we've got a good balance sheet, we're a healthy organization, we're gonna put money off of our balance sheet to help fund these things. I really tip my hat off to TMC and what's happened here because that is a unique mindset, which I do think TMC is at the forefront of what they've already set up.
We have a venture fund that is part of a nonprofit organization, and yet we're investing in these for-profit healthcare startup companies. It fits in with our mission of trying to bring products to market that benefit our patients and really overall help the healthcare system. Any profits, and we suspect that we're going to be able to turn some profits as we see these companies continue to make progress and exit, those profits just get plowed right back into the venture fund so that we can make the next round of investments, and bring more products to patients.
One of the opportunities a venture fund brings to us is the ability to ask the question, are we seeing the best from around the world? I've always found you really need to create a beacon that says, here we are, we have the largest medical city in the world. We invite you to bring the best of your technologies forward, and we create that beachhead for you to bring your early stage startups, and the TMC Venture Fund is a really attractive aspect of that entire ecosystem. So I'm almost done, I promise you. These are some of the companies that we've invested in. We've already put $2.5 million to work. We have more investments coming up in a meeting. So I'm going to finish with TMC3. Many of you have heard about this. It's been a project underway, and I thought you'd just take a look at another ecosystem. To the left of that screen is Mission Bay in San Francisco in 2009, and just 6-7 years later, it's the most highly activated area. Now, they started with 35 acres. I'm going to show you a parallel of what we see our ecosystem, similar in size. You've heard about the East Coast, West Coast. As I list these videos, I realize it sound like haters of East Coast, West Coast. We're really not. We're just loving Houston and we're loving Texas. So it is our mission, but this is the vision that we have on the north of the campus, north of the bio. You'll see that we have a highly densified clinical environment, which all of our leaders of these centers are actually decanting that because they're trying to make greater use of that for the clinical. And a lot of the research for years has been moving south. And so you see the picture of the future of what I think is going to be the most exciting, activated area of the Texas medical city in the future. It started in early days of design with our partners at Gensler, who, by the way, for 6 months did this all pro bono. One of our architects here, Raphael, designed this beautiful double helix, and it was interesting when showing this to our partner CEOs. We showed them several designs, and when they all saw the helix, it was just an instant recognition of this being an icon for our city. It's hard to show this in buildings because that's a 28-acre double helix. You'll be able to see this when you fly into Hobby, when you fly into George Bush International. When lit up at night, you'll know you're flying over Houston, and it's time we claim our rightful place as the third coast for life science innovation. We also have a hotel and conference center underway with Majestic Realty. It's going to have 409 keys, as they refer to it, 65,000 square feet of conference center. And here's a view looking from the patio of the conference center, of the hotel across to the double helix. And this is the last part, is we're also, the only philanthropic part of this entire thing is the Helix Park. And we're soon gathering the leaders. There's some great park-minded people in this ever-greening city that are starting to connect the city. And I think it's going to be a differentiator of our city for the next 50 years of how green this environment is. Parks are not a nice to have, they're a must have. And the way in which you compete with Boston and San Francisco, you really need to densify and really take advantage of this green space. So I'm hoping that the city will come together, the leaders, and together we'll be able to raise the funds to do this park, because I think it's a really critical part, not just for the medical center, but for our city and making a statement to the world. So with that, I want to thank you for your time. I made it just in time. I want you all to have a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving, but most importantly, I hope you have a white Christmas.
All right. Bill insists that we end with music every year. Let's offer Bill another round of applause for an extraordinarily exciting presentation. And for those of you who picked up on it, I do want to correct one thing he said. It may have offended some of you. When he said that we started experiments with mice and then move on to animals, you were not implying that mice were not animals. It might have been, I don't know. Hey, let me tell you about a few more events and then we'll wrap it up. We have the State of the Port coming up on November 29th, and this will be Janice Longoria's last year to present, as she will no longer be the chair next year. So State of the Port, November 29th. State of Metro will be December 12th with Karen Patman, Metro Chair. And State of the Airports is on December 14th with Mario Diaz. And lastly, we have our Houston Region Economic Outlook on December 5th. So thank you all for being here. I look forward to seeing you at one of these upcoming events. Thank you, Bill McKeon. Thanks, everyone. Bye.